So, coming to you from the Key Lime Farm, it is February 27th, 2026. And about 3 weeks ago, we had a historic freeze here in Fort Pierce, Florida. A few of my plants, actually a lot of my plants, got hit pretty hard. And I didn't do anything for the first 3 weeks. I kind of let them be, let them settle, because I didn't know what I was dealing with. When I walked in here the morning after the freeze, a lot of them were wilted over but still green. So I didn't know where and what to do. So today's video, I'm going to try to show you how to deal with some of these plants, these citrus trees that got hit by this cold. After you're done trimming these things and trimming the dead wood out of them, this is kind of what they look like. Now, to me, I know that this stalk here is still good. A, because it has a lot of new growth coming out of it. So I'm gonna let it grow as much leaves as I can and then trim it back in a few weeks. So what I did already is I went through and cut out a lot of the dead wood. And the way you can tell you have dead wood versus live wood is by doing the scrape test. So how do you know this is alive? This is one little check that I do. And I'm trying to make it so we can all see it, but just grab a scraper and look for green. That to me is dead wood. And what this freeze does or did is that it basically gives the plant frostbite, like on your fingers. So your hand wouldn't die if it wasn't too bad, but your fingers might. They might turn black, picture black, and kind of die back. So you would take the finger off. Well, same thing with the stalk. So now I'm gonna go a little lower and see where the green's happening. So as you can see, there's green. So how high did this green go? Well, the green stops there and starts there. So this plant died back to about here. So what I can do, which is cut it off right around here. Splinter, that's not good. Okay, so you can see dead wood meets green wood. So we're gonna cut up all this stuff today, and this is what I'm left with, which looks to me like a stump. But I'm gonna watch this plant. I see it does have some growth trying to come back. I think it's gonna be pretty difficult for this plant to bounce back. But, well, there was a lot more blooms happening on all these plants, and when the freeze came, it just killed me. So here I am starting over again. So now this is gonna turn into growth year for me instead of making key lime year. But I'll give you a little bit of a tour and show you how much damage I got. So this is what I call my production tent. And then over here, these are what I call my two old ladies that I brought up from Miami, and they got hit pretty hard. I'll cue in a picture of what they look like before right now. They're about 8 or 9 years old, and I brought them up from Miami, where I originally started this key lime extravaganza. But they weren't covered down there. They were wide open, and I didn't know what to do with them. They didn't look infected with HLB. They might be, I don't know, but this is what it looks like now. So that's the old ladies, that's the production tent, and this is my experimental tent. This is where I do all my experimenting. So this is the experimental tent, or what I call the experimental tent. These are trees that I've rescued throughout the years. There's all kind of mix of citrus in here. It's not strictly key limes, but it's majority of key limes. That's some kind of lemon tree. I don't know what it is. I rescued it down in Miami. Key lime pots, 25-gallon pots. Amazon, 25-gallon pots. Fabric, they do really well in those. And this is another one I rescued out of Miami. These are interesting to me. They're interesting because they were grown from seed. So I don't know what kind of lemon or whatever it is, but I know it's some kind of lemon because it has really long thorns, whereas the key limes have little jagged ones. Moving right along, I got this off of Amazon. I got a few of these off Amazon. These are kind of neat. These are finger limes, and I'm gonna try to grow a few of those. But these plants in here did not get hurt at all by the freeze, and I don't understand why, because it's the same exact setup as that one is. I don't know, maybe it was just the wind, maybe it was the blockage of those trees on the outside, but they didn't get hurt at all. So these, you could see, this is what all my other trees look like. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you see all those blooms and buds? That's what the rest of them look like. So I'm not gonna get that on the other trees. These trees will this year. These are grapefruits. That's a grapefruit. This is a grapefruit. These are key limes, but look at this. I mean, look at this bloom. That's what all the rest of them look like. And if you can smell that, good Lord, that smells good. They need to make a perfume with that. Good Lord, that smells good. But the whole thing smells like blossoms. And we're getting some pretty intense blossoms. So they do very well in pots. So moving right along, this is probably gonna be the only tent that I have a good, decent bloom on. This is kind of unique too. I got this from Amazon as well. This is another finger lime, but look at the finger limes. Look at how many there are. Look at the blooms. This one's blowing up really nice, but this one here is my new favorite from Amazon. These are finger limes as well. You can see little finger limes, but look at how many buds there are. Look at them. See little finger limes? Crazy. This plant is not even a year old, but you already have like really nice fruit it's producing. So these are going to be kind of unique. I've never seen a finger lime before, but this is what they look like. Kind of cool. And I'm going to try to make a, I don't know, a lime pie out of the finger limes. Supposedly when you break them open, it looks like caviar, like, but it tastes just like, you know, a lime would. It'd be really sour. But moving right along, this is a plant that I think I rescued, same thing, down in Miami. Brought it up here and it was nothing more than like twigs. It looked like a little twig. I've just been treating it with certain fertilizers, and I'll make another video about what I use to kind of treat these things and get them back on the road. This is another one I rescued, but look at the buds on this. Unbelievable. So you get those little clusters. Those are key limes. I planted this one in the ground too. We're gonna see how it does. I imagine it's gonna get pretty big. A lot of these are dwarf varieties, which I recommend for the home grower. The dwarf varieties tend to not get so big. These plants get to about 8 to 12 feet. The dwarf varieties stay under 8 feet, and they produce the same amount of key limes as any of the other ones. But look at the buds. I'm getting a good pop this year. But I also think that these plants think that it's spring, and it's not really spring yet. The light is starting to change. By next week we'll be getting dark at 7 o'clock, which is good, and basically that's what all the plants go off of. I have one more area that I want to show you. So you can see we got hit hard. I mean, it killed even the weeds. So this is the first tent that I built. I want to say I built it in 2020. and I've absolutely let it go overgrown, because I eventually want to take every one of these plants out of here and bring them up that way, because I'd rather be hanging out up there than going way the hell back here in the back of my yard. I mean, it's 5 acres long and it's a good run, and there's no electric back here, there's no water. So what I end up having to do is run a 400 500 foot hose going all the way down there, all the way up here, just to water these when it gets really drought like. But these are all key limes. You could see that some of them have been affected by the cold, but not terrible, not terrible.